There we go. Okay, so I'm a director at Wax Design. We are a landscape architecture firm, so slightly different from a garden design or construction company. So when asked to talk about sustainability, yes, I can talk, for a long time about the sustainable projects that we work on, but it's also about our sustainability as a company and also the sustainability of our team. And so there's probably three things that I want to talk to you about today is how that we approach all those different things, because then together holistically, we are more sustainable in everything that we do, and hopefully can provide some level of leadership or mentoring or aspirational examples to then work towards as well. So sustainability is a continual work in progress. We are always trying to do better. Goalposts are always shifting. So what was acceptable last year or 10 years ago is not progressive thinking. We need to be actively thinking about how we can continue to improve. And so part of our company's approach a couple of years ago was that we decided that we were going to become carbon neutral. And not just carbon neutral, but a certified company that is carbon neutral. So there's a whole lot of ongoing benchmarks and justifications that we need to maintain on an annual basis to retain that accreditation. And then also part of our team at Wax is how do we make sure that the team is sustainable and our company is sustainable, and that's looking at our staff. And so a key initiative that we decided again a couple of years ago was to move to a 4-day week practice so that we can get a better work-life balance for our team. And then obviously even Caroline has started these questions and conversations. How do we make that work? Sounds great, but practically how do you achieve that and still maintain a company that's profitable enough to be able to pay your staff? Okay, so how we went about becoming carbon neutral. So it took 18 months for us to achieve this outcome, and you could try, but I would not recommend it. We worked directly with an environmental consultancy group called D Squared, who are just over here in Peary Street, conveniently in our same building. And that is the focus of their business, is to assist other companies on their sustainability journey. So we started in our first year when we got certified in 2021. We had to purchase 18 carbon credits to offset the emissions that our company creates on that annual basis. And so the whole idea of being climate accountable and climate active is that you need to set benchmarks every year that you should be becoming less. You should be generating less carbon, so therefore buying less credits to offset what you're generating. And so by putting the top line to sort of demonstrate that it wasn't an easy road, we came out of COVID, there's still a lot of online meetings and a lot of face-to-face meetings. We weren't doing a lot of travel. So in our first year, we only had to buy 18 carbon credits. And then in the second year, 17. So, okay, it's like, yeah, we're doing really well. We're on the right path here. We're making positive changes every time. And then we got to 2023 and we completely blew it out of the water because we started working on a couple of interstate jobs, and then we had to go to Europe twice for work. And so all that travel doubled our carbon credits. And so we went, okay, right. So now we really have to strategize. If we are going to travel for work, it has to be completely justified, because this is impacting on our climate emissions in a really significant way, and it's actually doubled our emissions that year. And that we identified that is our biggest polluter as a company, is travel. So you need to develop a strategy, and you need to identify different ways that you can reduce your emissions. And so, minimizing travel, that's our biggest one for us. Energy and water consumption. So what are you doing on a daily basis in your practices in your studios? How can you be doing it better? We've got some solar panels on our roof that we actually shared with the strata company. So there's 5 different businesses in our building. We collectively joined together, purchased the solar panels, and we all share from that electricity that we're creating on the roof. And then the remainder we top up with green power. We have to measure and report on an annual basis all of our energy consumption. So you need to find someone in your practice who has the capacity to analyse the electricity bills, how much waste you're putting out each week, and you have to actually monitor and become accountable. We talk to our staff about how they get to work on a daily basis and how also they go between jobs as well. So do we need to get into a car? Can we show some transport? We have signed up to, Luke, is it GoGet? Sorry? FlexiCar. It's changed company. FlexiCar, which is a car hire service that you share here in the city. They've got half a dozen cars. Energy saving devices in the studio. We looked at our waste. In the city here, there isn't any green organics. So we started collecting our green organics at work and we take them home and put them in the home compost. So, there's some really simple things. And just talking to our staff on a regular basis. Like yesterday we got a notification that in September, the whole plastics, single-use plastics is going to change. So that was something we distributed to all our staff. We get excited about this, that waste is going to reduce and we need to make sure that everyone in the studio is educated about that. So we need to continue to do better to maintain our certification, and they give you about 5 years. And if you can't demonstrate that you're doing better than when you started, they will remove your accreditation. So this is a really important focus of our company, and we really try and show leadership in that space, because then that rolls over to our clients, as well as our co-collaborators and obviously industry people like yourselves. About the same time, we also decided that this 5-day-a-week work shit is really not for us. And how can we change that? And it was a completely selfishly led initiative by myself and the other directors, because I've been doing this for a long time now and I really don't want to come to work for 5 days a week. So what if I came to work 4 days a week? And how do we do that? So we sat down with our staff and we had some really honest and robust conversations, and hilariously, everyone was on board. Go figure. So, and we have, since every year we ask our staff, is this still working for you guys? Is this what you want to do? No one has ever said, please let me go back to 5 days a week. So how do we do it? It was a really slow, gradual process. First, typically we would work a 7.5, 8 hour day. So we're looking at a 37.5 hour week, sometimes a 40-hour week, when we were working 5 days a week. So how do we get to 4 days a week? We started working 4 longer days, and I think we started about 35, 36 hours a week. And what we've managed to do over the last couple of years is actually reduce that. And we're now down to a 33-hour week over 4 days. So we start at 8:30, Luke, and we finish by about 5:30, and there's 45-minute lunch break or something in there. So what we've managed to do, because we've got all the books on, all our accounts and things, we've managed to maintain the same workflow, the same level of profitability. We have reduced our staff sick leave and personal leave requirements, because now they have a day off during the week to go to the bank or go to the doctors or whatever else. Everyone's mental health and their enthusiasm about coming to work has improved. They all get more time off, so all the things that they want to do in life besides coming to work. And then when they do come to work, they're seemingly more refreshed and they're actually more efficient. So yeah, I think we are now working smarter, more efficiently and more productively, because it's like this big carrot. It's like, well, on that Friday afternoon when everyone's feeling a bit fatigued and we really can't be asked, how efficient are we really? Whereas if I said to you, everyone gets to go home on Friday, but on Monday to Thursday, that extra 20 minutes for, a coffee or, take a few personal phone calls or I suppose all that other life stuff that you're trying to cram into the working week because you're not getting an opportunity to do it. You take all that out and you can actually do all of your work in 4 days. And Caroline asked me a really good question as well. How do your clients cope with that? And that is just the honest power of no. We don't work on a Friday. It's being honest about it and owning it and saying, we don't work on a Friday. We are here for you 4 days a week. We can just schedule everything around that. we will deliver. We will be here. We will not let you down. Trust us and work with us. And we haven't lost a single client. And everyone that we have turned around to and said, I'm sorry, I can't go to site on Fridays. We don't work on Fridays. Just give me a bit of notice. I'll be there on Thursday or I'll be on Monday. Everyone seems to be able to cope. Most of the time, I think it's our own insecurities about, well, they need me. Of course, I'm really, really busy. I have to work 50 hours a week or 60 hours a week or whatever it is. And we all are really, really busy. But if you don't look after yourselves and your own health and your own mental well-being and those of your staff, eventually you're not going to be there because you're going to make yourselves quite sick or unable to work or whatever it is. So I suppose this is how we make our company more sustainable. So we have our own sustainability action plan, which is underpinned by our climate responsive certification, but also then makes us start looking at what sort of work that we do and who do we work with. I suppose we're in a privileged position to actually say no to some clients who we don't align with their ethos of how they're treating our land, our country, our people, and our environment. We don't always get that opportunity, but I suppose where we can make a stand and say no, we do. And then where we can't, we try and educate our clients along the way. And we're always trying to look at sort of those project imperatives and those measures of success. So I thought I would put in a project that we've just recently completed, which unfortunately in the light is a little bit hard to see. So just imagine. So this is just a residence up in Erindale, just up the road. It's a Tropo designed architecture project. So already on board, we're working with an aligned architect who already understands sustainability. And obviously our client is already halfway on that journey too, because they've already engaged Tropo as their architect. So we worked with the client and with the architect. And this is a 2-story section of the built form out the back, where they've got their bedroom up on that little pop-up. And I was overlooking a roof. So the first thing is, well, why can't we have a green roof up there? So we did manage to achieve it, and they are 2 photos on the side in the smaller version. So we've got a gravel composite over an extensive soil roof. Obviously we work with our engineers to waterproof all the membranes, etc. So we've planted all native species up there. We've also put logs and rocks for invertebrate and habitat and to reduce wind erosion, etc. It is irrigated for establishment with the idea that eventually it will not need to be. So they get some really nice views out from their bedroom overlooking the green roof to the significant tree on the left-hand side that we managed to retain. So obviously we're always trying to work and retain our significant trees and improve their growing conditions. So the rear garden is 100% sort of permeable surfaces. We've got some terraced turf because it's adjacent a creek line and this area floods. So that's why the house is lifted up. And we've looked at using all sort of Indigenous native species in the rear of the garden because it's the transition to the creek line. Wrong way. This is another view of the rear garden where we've put in a small productive garden space at the back for their own food production in a compacted quarry fine surface. So again, there's actually no hard surfaces around this building, and working with the engineers, we actually managed to bring the turf right up to the windows and we've got a timber deck. So that's actually reduced the amount of stormwater runoff from the rear of the property because we've got 100% permeable surfaces to the rear. So, you know, a good one from a sustainability perspective is what's happening with the groundwater on your site. The front garden is also, so there was the image down the right-hand side, you probably can't see it very well. There was a heritage stone wall out the front, which again, we protected and retained. And then we have some sort of steppers with ground covers through the front as part of the entrance to the front door as well. Again, just trying to increase the amount of vegetation where possible and retain that soil permeability as well. So I think that's probably my 10 minutes, yeah?
Perfect.
Cool. We're going to keep questions till later?
Yes.
All right.
Let's hold them.
Thank you, everybody. I will hand over to Caroline.